Hey everybody, welcome to this video. This is Shane Smolian from Wolf Trader Futures, and today we're going to be looking at gold. We're going to be looking at the lunar cycles of gold, and we're going to be looking at the lunar cycles as the moon passes through zodiac signs, and we're going to look at the lunar cycles as the moon passes through aspects. So same concept that we did with the S&P, but this is going to be the symbol gold here. So I've loaded 10 years here. This is going to be gold from 2009 to the present, and I like to use. I really like to use recent data here because this is the modern Fed era. So we will have plenty of samples here because we're looking at lunar cycles, which are roughly once a month. So we'll get a lot of data here out of this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm in, this is Market Trader Titanium here. We're going to go over to the Composite Expert here, and I'm going to make this to look at the moon versus the moon here, and then we're going to start analyzing how this looks through each zodiac sign here. Okay, so interesting concept here, and keep in mind that each symbol is completely different in their behavior to the moon. Okay, so this is gold here. So gold starts out here in the sign of Aries at a high. And this is interesting because gold is also ruled by Mars. I mean, the Mars is an important planet of gold, or the sun. Technically, the sun is ruling gold, but Mars is also related to metals. So Mars is you can see here when it passes through Aries here. This is the peak here, and then it has a steady decline here all the way through the signs, all the way through Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and then Leo here. Just to clarify again here, this is Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. So it makes this low here into Leo here. So the second decan of Leo, that's an important low there. And then it's going to rise up here into Virgo, the first decan of Virgo. It's going to kind of do nothing here in Virgo. And then once it hits Libra, you can see there's a big surge here all the way up here into the sign of Scorpio, and then it peaks here to the third decan of Scorpio, which is really different than the S&P. We saw the S&P going down during this phase. So you know when the moon is about to move into Sagittarius, gold is likely reaching some type of a short-term high. Then it falls down here into the third decan of Sagittarius, makes a rise here into Capricorn, pulls back into the second decan of Capricorn, goes up into about the end of the first, beginning of the second decan of Aquarius, goes down into Pisces here, first decan of Pisces, and then it rocket ships up here from Pisces into Aries. So again, Aries, obviously it's an important point here. We keep getting these starting points here at the Aries point. In this case, it's a peak, but going down. So let's take a look at how we can analyze this in terms of absolute peaks here. So I would say obviously this is an important high here. Okay, this is an important high here. This is an important low here, obviously the biggest low, so these are the biggest peaks. There's a secondary high here. And I guess we could call this a secondary low here into there. So this is going to be our absolute high here. This is going to be our second high, peak high into here. And this is going to be our absolute low here. This is going to be our secondary low here into the sign. So again, high right at Aries, falling all the way down into Leo, which is the right after the first or the second decan here. So this is the low here, going up here into Scorpio, into this first decan of Sagittarius. So end of Scorpio, first decan of Sagittarius here. This is a secondary high here, and then falling, going down, rising again into this Aquarius, so going down into the Sagittarius. So Sagittarius has a quick drop off there after the high. Then it falls again into this ultimate low here into Pisces, and then it repeats the cycle again. So very, very interesting. So wherever we are with the moon, you can look up the moon phases on a chart, the moon signs on a chart, and you can tell where we're going to be in relation to the moon. Now, some people feel that this is more accurate as the moon moves through the signs, because the sign is nothing more than just a position of where the moon is. It's a position from 0 to 360 degrees where the moon is on a coordinate system. So this is 0 here, this is 180 degrees, and this is 360 back to 0, and it starts again So in some ways, there's less distraction when you're looking at aspects between two planets. Those planets can be in different signs too, right? When they're making aspects, so you're introducing another variable. So again, a lot of people like this, really like this the best. It's just such a simple thing, but it's very, very powerful, I think, to understanding um, where it likes to be. Where the markets like to be at different times. So we're going to change this. So before we were looking at the moon versus the moon, which is just the signs, we're going to look at the moon versus the sun here. And this is going to be the moon as it aspects the sun. So this is for gold. So this one's kind of a little more wavy all over the place, right? It didn't have that structure. This is kind of a weird graph. The other one had much more structure as it kind of fell from one side and reached absolute highs and lows. This is different. So this is going to be the conjunction here. So just so we can clarify, this is the new moon here at 0. This is the full moon here at 180 degrees, or the opposition into here. And so these are the aspects in between. So this is the sextile, the first sextile, the square, the trine. So the sextile is 60. This is going to be 90. This is going to be 120, then 180. And then on the back side of this, it's 120 on the back side, 90 on the back side, 60 on the back side, and then coming back. So what we see here is we see the new moon. We see a fall off here into the moon after the new moon, then another rise, and then it falls a couple of times here. First of all, it falls into the first sextile. So that's the thing to think about here. The first sextile is going to fall, and then it's going to fall right before the first square, and then it picks up here. Now, one thing to remember too about this chart is that people think of all the time, they think of like, well, you know, the squares are bad and the oppositions are bad and the trines are good. Not necessarily. So this is why we actually look and see what the behavior is of the moon in these planets, or how do the markets behave when the moon is making these aspects to the sun. It does rise here, makes a pretty good rise up here into the trine here, the first trine, the first 120, and then this actually falls. So this is actually I think this is a pretty clear, nice definition here where the full moon tends to be a low for gold. So mark that on your calendars. That's pretty cool. Then it surges. This is like right before the full moon. Then it surges up again right after the full moon, down, and then it goes up again into the trine here, a little bit past the trine. And then on the back side of this back side of this square, you can see it starts to fall again. It falls and falls and falls and falls into the last sextile before the new moon. Okay, so 60 degrees before the full moon, or 300 degrees if you're counting from the beginning. You can say 60 before or 300 from the full motion, the full coordinate system, and then you get a very, very sharp rise here. So this is interesting here too, that even though the new moon is here, we get a little bit of the peak actually comes very, very sharply here before the new moon, a little bit before. So if this is 60, 53, about 340 degrees here. So if we're going down here, so about 340 is the peak here, and then it falls down again. So very, very interesting. I think if I could kind of summarize this, I would say that it definitely likes to make a low on the opposition or the full moon, and it's definitely right before the new moon, it makes a high and it runs up there. So let's go back and summarize these by highs and lows. This one's going to be a little bit tougher to do, but I would definitely say that this is an important high here. This is an important low here. This is an important low here. Now the rest of these is kind of tough to pick. I would say probably this is a high here. These are kind of tied here, right? I would say this is a high here, and I would say this is a low here, right? So let's rank these highs. This is going to be the first high here. This one's probably the second high. They're pretty close. This is going to be the third high here. If we're looking at these lows, we rank these. This is going to be the first low here. This is probably going to be the second low here, and this is going to be the third low here. And so this one actually comes. This actually comes on the sextile here. This is kind of a cool one. So 60 degrees before is an absolute low for gold. And then the thing about this is that's very interesting is that it shoots up to the peak very quickly. So there's a big sharp rise in gold from that sextile, from that sextile into about 340 degrees. So there's like 40 degrees into here that are very, very sharp. So just to summarize this again, here's the new moon falling, rise again here, basically making this low here right before the first square, going up into the trine, going a little bit past the first trine. This is the first 120 degrees, falling down again. Here's the full moon. Very, very important here. It's making a trough at the full moon. Doesn't like the full moon. It's going up again here right after the full. So basically what happens is it falls before the full moon and then it rises real quick again after the full moon. Very interesting mercurial chart here, even though it's not Mercury, it's just fast moving. Second high here comes up again after the, so it makes the high right after the opposition, goes up past the last trine, and then falls here. So here's your square. So this is the square, this is the backside square. So this is the 270, falling, 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 falling into the sextile. I like this because it's actually on a 60-degree point, makes this low here, and then shoots up for about 40 degrees here right before the new moon. So the high, the absolute high is right before the full moon. So very interesting chart here. So I think this is very useful information, both by looking at the signs and also looking at the aspects of the sun. And I hope this can help you guys out. All right, guys. So that's it for this video. What did you guys think? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments below. And until the next time, hope everyone stays safe out there. And I will talk to you soon. Peace out.